Now we come to the first portion of our lesson where it's really important to be able to select, because we're going to start talking about formatting things in our document. And you must select to effect. That is, you have to tell it what to work on and then tell it what to do to that text. In my case, I'd like to move to the top of the document, so I'm going to use Control and Home. Now, let's say that I would like to take this title up here and make it left-aligned instead of centered. I'd like to move it to the left edge of the paper like this title is. So first I need to select it. I could drag across it to select it, but we had a way where you could select an entire line, and to do that we had to move out here into the margin so we had the up-pointing right arrow. That way, with a single click, I can select that entire line. And notice what popped up on screen. This is called the Mini Formatting Toolbar. Microsoft knows that if you select text that you've already typed, it's usually because you want to change the formatting somehow. So this little mini toolbar has the things in it that people use most often when formatting text that already exists. Notice the B is already turned on here. As I hover over that, it says that's bold letters, extra heavy dark. By the way, you'll notice as I moved away from that quick formatting toolbar, it disappeared and it's not easy to get back. Luckily, all I have to do is go up to my Home ribbon and I can get to those things that were in my quick formatting toolbar. So for example, I said maybe I'd like to move the letters to the left or to the right. Here's some little buttons that will do that. Here's Align Left. Notice this one is already selected. That's why these words are centered on the page. Maybe I want to move them to the right side of the page. If I click on that button, there they are over at the right-hand side. Here I am moving them to the left-hand side. Here I am recentering them. How did it know what words to move? Because I had pre-selected them. You must select to effect. Let's say that I would like to change the size of those letters. I've still got them selected. I'm going to go up here to the size box, and I'm going to boost them from 14 to maybe 20. By the way, I haven't clicked on 20 yet, but notice I can see what 20 would look like. This is one of my favorite features of the Microsoft Office suite. It's called Live Preview. I get to see what the thing would look like before I actually click to commit to it. This is a big thing because in the old days, we used to select text and we would say, I think that's going to look great as a 28-point font. And then I click on 28 and I go, oh, that's not as good as I was hoping it would look because I couldn't see it ahead of time. Or I'm thinking, I like purple letters, and so I'm going to choose purple letters, and then they look awful. I'm not really doing that yet. But again, these are going to be things that I can see in my live preview. If I don't like what I see, I move away from it. If I do like what I see, I go ahead and click on it. So I'm going to make those letters 28-point size. And then I'm going to go up right up here under my Home ribbon in the font group. I've got a way to set the letter color. Now, if I just click on that red A right there, I will get red letters. But maybe I want some other color than red. That's what this little sneaky list arrow is about right here. When I click on this, I see several colors. They are divided into what are called theme colors and standard colors. We'll be talking about themes in a few minutes. But again, I'm getting that lovely live preview. And when I see something I like, I click on it. And then to see what it really looks like, I click away from it so it's not selected anymore. So why don't you take just a second and do that? Select that top title. Move it to the left, move it to the right. Stand up, sit down, fight, fight, fight. Change the size. Change the color. And then come on back and we'll do some more formatting together. All right, let's say that I want to affect multiple lines this time. I've got these little titles at the beginning of several of my paragraphs. And maybe I would like to do something to, say, 3 of those at once. Maybe I'd like to turn them into fire engine red or dark blue. Maybe those are my company colors, light green and dark blue. So I'm going to sort of brand this document using the company colors. So first I'm going to select this line. And then I'd also like to select this line at the same time, but when I click out in the margin, okay, I've got that second one selected, but I've lost the first one. Now, some of my more experienced Word users might know about the control-click trick, and that's what I'm about to do. So first thing I'm going to do is click out here in the margin. There's the first one that I wanted to select. Now I'm going to scroll down with my scroll wheel, and I'm going to move out into the margin next to what is Books and Beyond, and I'm going to hold the Control key as I click. Oh, look, that lets me choose 2 things at once. And I can keep doing that. I'm going to scroll down some more. I'm going to hold the Control key and click here. And now I've got 3 things selected at once. And whatever I do next will affect all 3 of those lines. For example, maybe I'll go up here and use that same green color that I was using on the title. And if you look closely, the thing that used to have a red bar under the A now has that light green bar under the A. And if I just click on that, oh look, I've got that green down here. All right, it's your turn to try that. So you're going to select several of those titles. Remember, you're going to click out in the margin. You're going to hold the Control key and click to get a second one. Control click to get a third one. And then set the letter color right up here, either through the pull-down arrow or by reusing a color that you might have used for the title. Have at it. Catch up to me. All right, good work. Let's move down to the end of our document. Remember our old keyboard shortcut by now? Control and the Pilsudski key? No, there's no Pilsudski key. I'm talking about Control and End. Just checking to see who's listening here. So I'm using Control and End to get down to the end of the document. And let's say that what I would like to do down here is change the font of this last paragraph. So I'm going to select the whole paragraph. Yes, I could drag from end to end, or I could move out in the margin and drag downward or drag upward, select that whole paragraph. There's a couple other keyboard ways to do that, but I don't want to overwhelm you with things. And what I'd like to do here is change the font. Right now it's Times New Roman. But maybe I'd like it to look like an old school typewriter. The usual font on an old school typewriter is called Courier, Courier. Word has a font called Courier New, and I'd like to choose that. So I'm moving up either to my quick formatting mini toolbar, or I can move up to my home ribbon, and I'm going to click on the pull down arrow in this list of fonts. And man, what a list we have. As I roll up and down in that list, I can actually see it happening in the background. I've got that live preview thing going on back there. Now, sometimes it's partially covered up by that list itself. So I'm trying to find a font called Courier New. I'm going to start scrolling down through the alphabetized list. I'm down to C-O. I'm down to C-O-U. There it is, Courier New. I'm hovering over it. Yeah, that looks like an old school typewriter. I'm clicking on it. So I can change the font, I can change the color. I've got all kinds of formatting features here. Make the font a little bigger, a little smaller. There's a button here that I can make everything uppercase or lowercase. We've got some fancy schmancy word art, it's called, with all kinds of reflections and glowing features and so forth. Pretty much everything up here in the font group is kind of fun to play with, but you have to select the text first. So what I just did was I selected that last paragraph and I changed its font to Courier New. I'd like you to select that last paragraph and I'd like you to just play with it a little bit. Try bold, try italic, try underline. We've got strike through, we've got superscript, we've got subscript, got all kinds of cool text effects. I'd like you to just play and make sure you're working on that very last paragraph. So we'll give you a couple of minutes to do that, and then we're going to come back and I want to talk about kind of a cool feature that's available only in Word and PowerPoint, and we'll take advantage of it here in Word. So pause the screen, select that last paragraph, get in there and play a little bit. When you're done, unpause the screen, and we'll start talking about a special feature that's only available in Word and PowerPoint. So get in there and play for a minute. Put the video on pause, play around a bit, and then come on back. All right, so here comes this new thing. Let's stop for a moment and save our latest document. Come on up and click on that little floppy disk up in the upper right corner. Or maybe you like the keyboard shortcut that it's showing me, Control-S. So go ahead and click on that. Now we're not using Save As, so it just assumes that we want to keep the same file name and replace the old version with the new version. And now let's close this file. Now one of the ways to do that is to go up here to the upper right corner and click the Close button. Let's go ahead and do it that way. So click that Close button to close this document. Now when I do that, I can see that my memo document is still open behind there. And maybe I want to turn the Pilcrows off. All right, here's what I'd like everybody to do. First of all, you're going to watch me do this, and then you're going to join me. So it's a special thing that happens when we reopen a Word document. So I'm going to go to my File menu. I'm going to tell it to open a file. I'm going to slide down here and browse for my document. Here's the one I was working on most recently, Working Large Document. I'm going to double-click to reopen that. And look what's happening down here in the bottom right corner. Welcome back. Pick up where you left off. How are we doing so far? 2 minutes ago. So if I click on that, it takes me right to that place that I was working earlier. The last place I was working when I closed this document. Boy, is that handy. Maybe this is a 20-page document and I was fixing something on page 12, and I'd kind of like to pick up where I left off. I can just click on that little button that appeared in the bottom right corner to take me right to the last place I'd been working before I saved that file. How cool is that? So it's your turn to make that happen for you. You've recently closed the Working Large document. Go back up to the File menu, choose Open, slide down and click on Browse. It should take you to the last folder you were working in, as long as you haven't turned your computer off between then and now. And you should get that little thing appear in the bottom right corner when you go to open that document, and you can click on that little placeholder and it will take you right to this place where you were working last. So catch up with me. We were working at the last part of that document, reopen it, and let it take you to pick up where you left off.